And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided. But there shall be in it of the strength of the iron, forasmuch as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay.
This prophecy of the division of the Roman Empire began its fulfillment during the 3rd century AD. The Roman army was struggling to maintain the large borders of its empire. Due to internal and external pressures, Rome lost control of a significant portion of its eastern territory to the powerful trading city of Palmyra. By 271 AD, the Palmyran Empire controlled a large portion of Asia Minor, spreading all the way down to Egypt. At the same time, the western frontier fell to a mutinous Roman army, which established their kingdom known as the Gallic Empire, which held sway over Gaul, Spain, and Britain. In 270 AD, during the height of this crisis, Emperor Aurelian emerged. After protecting the northern frontier against barbarian invaders, Aurelian restored Roman power in the east by conquering Palmyra in a series of battles in 272 AD. In the following year, Aurelian marched to Gaul to reclaim its western territory. In 274 AD, he defeated the Gallic Empire, ending the Roman crisis. However, Rome's instability continued. In 285 AD, Diocletian endeavoured to restore Rome's former strength and stability by dividing the power of government between 4 emperors, 2 senior emperors and 2 junior emperors. Diocletian, as senior emperor, ruled the east from Nicomedia, while Maximian, also a senior emperor, ruled the west from Milan. Galerius, a junior emperor, controlled Illyricum from Thessalonica. And Constantius, also a junior emperor, had power over Gaul and Britain from Trier. However, naming numerous emperors led only to more civil wars, making it easier for the barbaric tribes to invade. In 305 AD, Diocletian retired, and over the next 2 years, 8 emperors began to fight for supremacy, bringing Rome near total collapse. However, Rome could not collapse at this point if the prophecy of the iron and clay was to be fulfilled. Important changes needed to take place before Rome could be divided. Divine providence solved this crisis.
After Diocletian retired, Maximian followed suit. The 2 former junior emperors, Galerius and Constantius, became senior emperors in the east and west respectively. Severus was junior emperor to Constantius in the west, and Maximinus II was junior emperor to Galerius in the east. The following year, 306 AD, Constantius died in Britain, and his son Constantine was then proclaimed emperor by his father's army. However, this conflicted with Severus's new position as senior emperor in Rome. This news provoked Maxentius, son of Maximian, to proclaim himself as emperor in Rome also. Maxentius then called on his father to leave retirement to be co-emperor with him, and this he did. Maxentius and his father killed Severus to secure their position. Galerius, the eastern emperor, came to the west intending to dethrone Maximian. Galerius then appointed Licinius as emperor in the east, giving Rome 6 emperors once again. Constantine then captured Maximian, who afterward hanged himself. A number of months later, Galerius died, leaving the Roman Empire with 4 emperors. Maxentius and Maximinus II made an alliance, motivating Licinius to ally with Constantine. Soon after, Constantine destroyed Maxentius by defeating him and his army in 312 AD. Months later, Licinius defeated Maximinus and his army, which led Maximinus to commit suicide, leaving only 2 emperors in power. Constantine then went to war against Licinius, finally executing him and becoming sole ruler over the entire Roman Empire. The eastern regions were united with those of the west, and the whole body of the Roman Empire was graced by a single and supreme ruler.
Constantine the Great was Rome's last emperor to rule the entire empire. This was necessary to fulfill biblical prophecy. Constantine made some very important changes that were like seeds to spring up in a Roman government of a different kind. During his 31 years of rulership, Constantine publicly professed Christianity, became the first Christian emperor, and put a stop to Christian persecution through the Edict of Milan in 313 AD.
When you see that this has been granted to Christians by us, your worship will know that we have also conceded to other religions the right of open and free observance of their worship for the sake of the peace of our times, that each one may have the free opportunity to worship as he pleases. This regulation is made that we may not seem to detract from any dignity of any religion.
Constantine also greatly favoured the church in Rome and flattered the bishops, donating land and wealth to the church.
It was the aim of Constantine to make theology a branch of politics. It was the hope of every bishop in the empire to make politics a branch of theology.
Constantine made theology a branch of politics by acting as supreme judge to solve doctrinal divisions within the church, even though he wasn't baptized. He dealt with the Donatist schism in North Africa by 320 AD. He also called and presided over the Council of Nicaea in 325 AD, attempting to solve the Godhead schism between Arianism and Trinitarianism. In 321 AD, Constantine issued his famous Sunday Edict.
Constantine, Emperor Augustus, to Helpidius. On the venerable day of the sun, let the magistrates and people residing in cities rest, and let all workshops be closed. In the country, however, persons engaged in agriculture may freely and lawfully continue their pursuits, because it often happens that another day is not so suitable for grain sowing or vine planting, lest by neglecting the proper moment for such operations the bounty of heaven should be lost.
Constantine also shifted the political capital from Rome to Byzantium, which he renamed Constantinople. This gave the Bishop of Rome more freedom to exercise civil authority within the city of Rome. So it was that Constantine opened the door of the state to the clergy.
To the reign of Constantine the Great must be referred the commencement of those dark and dismal times which oppressed Europe for 1,000 years. An ambitious man had attained to imperial power by personating the interests of a rapidly growing party. The unavoidable consequences were a union between the church and the state, a diverting of the dangerous classes from civil to ecclesiastical paths, and the decay and materialization of religion.
This joining of church and state was an irresistible temptation to the bishops of Rome. The bishops believed that pagan Rome was the oppressor of the Christians, as Egypt was the oppressor of the Israelites, and that Constantine was to the Christians as Moses was to the children of Israel. The Roman historian and bishop Eusebius, who lived in the days of Constantine, writes this:
For as once in the days of Moses and the Hebrew nation, who were worshippers of God, he cast Pharaoh's chariots and his host into the waves, and drowned his chosen chariot captains in the Red Sea. So at this time did Maxentius and the soldiers and guards with him sink to the bottom as a stone, when in his flight before the divinely aided forces of Constantine he essayed to cross the river which lay in his way.
They also believed that the church was to be a theocracy, a nation to overrule nations, as Israel was in the days of King David. This idea appears clear and full in Eusebius's book, The Life of Constantine. Furthermore, the bishops believed that this new theocracy would be governed by the church officers.
Accordingly, the bishops considered themselves as invested with a rank and character similar to those of the high priest among the Jews, while the presbyters represented the priests and the deacons the Levites.
This is how the Bishop of Rome became known as the High Priest, or in Latin, Pontificus Maximus. With the combination of Constantine joining church and state with the erroneous beliefs of the bishops, the seed was firmly sown that would spring up as Papal Rome. With Constantine's life work complete, he died in 337 AD. The old Roman Empire could now descend into division.
The kingdom shall be divided.
Now we will consider the history that fulfills this prophecy.